positions were only created so a novice could follow the game. Just because you're a power forward, that doesn't make you physical. Just because you're a shooting guard, that don't mean you can jack up threes. That's
what
just
were you,
position.
Jalen? What were you?
Where were you? Did you
What
average,
were you?
Did you average 1.4 points as a senior in high school?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so all of that Pistol Pete stuff, Water Pistol Pete Jr.
Okay, well, we'll address that later. We're going to. And
don't ignore that. Did you play junior?
Yeah.
Did you play JV as a junior?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I follow
you. What were you?
Okay.
What were you? What was your position?
I have no position. I have.
You were a point guard.
I have no game.
You were a point guard.
I have no
Am I right?
All right, look, we're a debate show, and that means we take on hot topics. We run from nothing, and we want to dive into this. It took on a life of its own yesterday on the internet. We have only one rule here, and that is authenticity. We need to make sure that the viewers at home realize when they turn on the TV, what they're seeing is genuine. And what happened yesterday happened organically, and it is out there. Jalen's back. No one's told you what to say. We have no idea where you're going with this. But what we want to do is, after you look at that, what's your reaction? Do you still stand by the way you approach that?
We're a debate show,
yeah.
as you mentioned. We're not a reality show. And it's up to us to say what's in our head, say what's in our heart as it relates to topics. What normally happens when you debate, whether you're at a barbershop or whether you're on ESPN First Take, sometimes the debate can get personal based on the person's tone. So if I hear somebody saying something negative about me to attack my credibility as a person and as a player, something that I invested 20 years in playing middle school, high school, college, pro. I'm invested in this. Like, my father was the #1 pick, God rest his soul, in the 1967 draft. Like, I dedicated my life to basketball. So if I feel like somebody wants to cross the line and challenge how I feel about the game, I study this, I do this, I took it personal. And that's what happened yesterday in our debate. I did take it personal, and I'm pretty sure he took it personal how I responded. It was a trending topic on Twitter. A lot of people were talking about it.
It was hot.
And, but as we mentioned, this isn't the Maury Povich show. I'm not an actor. I wasn't, I don't have a hand up my back of somebody telling me what to say, and we just went there.
Yeah. You and I talked about this after the show, and I told you I was offended only because you leaped to a conclusion based on what you read out in the Twitter sphere or blogosphere.
Right.
And this all began, as you now know, with a tweet of mine of, 3-4 weeks ago that was 100% accurate, but thanks to the 140 character limit, was about 5% of the real story, which, again, you and I shared yesterday. You shared some stories with me that were similar on your much higher level. And I only talk about this because now my integrity and credibility have been questioned by many of my Twitter followers. Did you exaggerate this? No. Did you lie about it? Absolutely not.
For those that may not have seen the tweets, try to, I know it's tough, but what was your original tweet?
Okay, the original tweet began with, and again, this is 3 sentences and 140 characters. I thought twice about doing a second and third tweet to expand upon the topic, because it's a much deeper story to me. It's my nightmare story.
Right.
It's in fact what propelled me to sit in this seat. The frustration that was caused to me in my high school career propelled me to become a member of the media and talk about basketball. And so it's the basis of why I'm here.
Okay.
But the original tweet began that in 9th grade, I was asked to go to a big basketball camp, area, statewide, that was run by the Iba family of Henry Iba fame at Oklahoma State, the mentor to Bobby Knight.
Legendary coach.
Legendary. I won MVP of that camp. Many kids who went on to play at high levels in Division I. And I thought I was Pistol Pete Maravich, as you said. I was probably more, what'd you call it, Water Pistol Pete? I probably exaggerated in my head just how good I was. But I thought I was pretty good.
I think at some point or another we're all guilty of that.
We're all guilty. So then I go to play for a legendary coach in high school.
At a big program.
At the biggest school in the state, Northwest Classen High School in Oklahoma City. And he hated my game. He didn't like me. I was a 3-point shooter and a gunner before there was even a 3-point line. He wanted me to be a point guard And I felt like I didn't have the aptitude nor the desire to distribute the basketball. I didn't get it. I don't have the gift that you had. You could definitely run the point. You could score too, but you had the feel for the game, the vision to anticipate when a player's coming up. I had zero of that. So I went through a nightmarish sophomore year in which we won the state championship. I went through a nightmarish junior year in which the coach forced me, as you pointed out yesterday, to play, we called it B squad, forced me to play B squad to learn to be the point guard, then suit up and play the varsity game at night.
Right.
I went into my senior year thinking, finally, I got my shot. I'm going to be the guy coming up next year. And what happens the first day of school? I look up, and my legendary coach has transferred in his son from Southeast High School on the South Side to play for him.
Wow.
And I did start for that team, but not for long, because the coach's son was soon the guy. I played a lot that year, but I lived in fear of even taking a shot in a game. When you hit me with the stat, I looked it up last night, I think it was 1.8. I was shocked it was that high because I can barely remember taking shots in games. All I did was do what Henry Iba wanted. You feed the post. I fed our postmen who went to Kansas State on scholarship and University of Houston on scholarship, and they were really good players. But I would start to shoot and hesitate. I was scared to death. So by 2/3 through the season, I got in his doghouse again. I clashed, I rebelled, into bench. That was the end of my career. That's exactly what happened to me, and it killed me. It was the worst experience of my sports life.
Do you know how many players, high school, college, and pro, can have that story? So imagine how they feel when you're on national TV for 4 hours a day and you're talking about the plight of their life on a national forum, but they don't have a chance to tell their story.
Yep.
And also what has happened in
Okay, well, you had a similar occurrence.
Right, but also what has happened in media is the line has been blurred between a reporter and an analyst. Now reporters are analysts. An analyst normally is somebody that has experience,
Well,
that has done something.
let's clarify something. Skip was a columnist.
And a reporter.
Yeah, I mean, you
For
started
years.
as a reporter,
Oh.
right? I mean, it's not as though you don't know the beats of being a reporter, but technically, when you go from being beat reporter to columnist, you're now not writing so much about the unfolding of the game. Now he is being paid to analyze the game and to opine and to write the way he sees the game. So it's not as if...
So, wait a second. Are you suggesting that you have to have played at a high level to...
No, not at all. If that was the case, then a lot of women wouldn't be able to report in sports because they don't have certain pro sports for women.
Sure.
So that's out. But what I am saying is, this is why I got into it. Mass communications was my major in college. This will be my 10th year covering the NBA Finals. Done NFL, done boxing. I've never been in a 15-round fight.
Right.
So I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, there's a difference between reporting what you say, reporting what you see, and name calling. Like when you name call, that makes it personal. Bosh Spice, Queen James.
Now, time out. No.
Now that crossed the line.
I don't do Queen James. I've never done Queen James.
It's Prince James.
Prince James.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay, but I invited anybody, including you, to come sit there and let's talk this out. Did Chris Bosh come and sit there?
But
did he?
them,
Yes.
But
yes.
you got to take their side of it. Them coming to sit here really validates you. It really validates your show because you talk negative about me. I've seen countless athletes, and I talked to Charles Oakley about this. I've seen countless athletes come on this show after their teammate or their good friend got ripped. And that's how people see it from the outside looking in. Oh, he doesn't like Michael Vick, so he's going to pump up LaShawn McCoy. Oh, he doesn't like LeBron James, so now it's all about Dwayne Wade. Oh, he loves Kevin Durant,
Jalen.
so now we're going to get all over.
Let's bring in Stephen A. Stephen A., go ahead, make a point.
Jalen, Skip Bayless, I need y'all to be quiet and listen to me. Because let me tell you something right now. I'm disgusted with both of y'all. I can't believe this is even a subject. Both of y'all are my friends. Both of y'all I've known for many years. Skip Bayless as a colleague, Jalen Rose, I'm proud of you. there are many times that many people have said stuff about you. I know that you are a baller, but I also know what kind of person that you are, and I also know the great things that you do in the city of Detroit and all of that other stuff. And I'll vouch for both of y'all characters. But the fact that this is even a subject has me so completely disgusted with y'all. If I was alone with y'all off camera, I might slap both of y'all. And I mean that affectionately, of course, because y'all would probably beat me down if I did such a thing. But let me be very serious about where I'm coming from here. Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, you have been a journalist and a columnist for over 30 years. You were a columnist in San Jose. You were a columnist for the Los Angeles Times. You were a columnist for the Chicago Tribune. You were a columnist for the Los Angeles Times. You don't have anything to prove to anybody about your resume. Tell the people to go kick rocks. You've earned it, okay? That's number one, all right? Number two, all right, with you, Jalen, yeah, I understand stuff gets personal and all of this other stuff, but let's talk to this other side about athletes. And we're not talking about you here. We're talking about the modern-day athlete. They can get a bit sensitive. There's a lot of stuff that they can't take. What about the contemporaries within the athletic world that talk about each other, that run to reporters behind the scenes, literally giving us information to talk about their own colleagues? Nobody brings that up. Nobody brings up the fact that these same guys that talk all of this smack, that get all sensitive, actually want to come and do what we're doing when all is said and done. Number three, did you question Howard Cosell when he didn't box? Did you question Bob Costas when he didn't play baseball? Did you question Jeff Van Gundy or Stan Van Gundy when they never played the game?
That's a different type of
media. There are a plethora of individuals in the world of sports. Hold on.
That's a different type of media, Steve.
In the world of sports.
That's a different type. We live in a media cycle now.
I'm not debating that.
Where they're talking heads 24/7, 365.
I'll let you talk. I let you talk. Let me talk. What I'm saying is, I'm not disputing that. All I'm trying to say to you is that there are plenty of people who want to come here and do what we do. Now, you've got people that are professional athletes that sit there and say, well, you know what, a journalist, you're giving your opinions, your name calling or whatever the case may be, which is something I don't name call, but they say, oh, you know what, this is what they do. Well, guess what? Why do they want to do this job? Because they want to get paid, and behind these very contemporaries and colleagues' backs, they go and they do the same thing. It's hypocrisy. So when you look at the Twitter world or anybody else and any of the things that they have to say, tell them to go kick rocks. Because really what they want to do is they want to do what we're doing. And because they're not in this position to do what they're doing, they got a problem. You know how many people want your job, Galen, that's working in the NBA right now, that's playing in the NBA, that are starving to come for your job so they can whine, moan, and do the same kind of things. They talk about me all the time. All right, I went to Winston-Salem State. I didn't play much, cracked my kneecap in half my first year, but I learned the game from Big House Gaines. I learned the game from John McClendon, two names that were responsible for integrating the sport of basketball. And then when I became a journalist, I learned from John Chaney, and then after that, I covered Larry Brown every day for 7 years. That's Big House Gaines, John McClendon, John Chaney, and Larry Brown. I don't care what anybody has to say, and neither should y'all. Stop worrying about the Twitter world. Tell them to go kick rocks. If we weren't on television, I'd show you what to say to them, okay? If you could get my drift. Stop worrying about all of that nonsense. We are here doing what we do. If they don't like it, get over it. We ain't here to make friends. We're here to tell it like it is. Let's move on.
I want you guys to understand
Stop wasting
something,
our time with this nonsense.
This is a national forum, and when you talk about somebody's character, when you talk about their game, when you question their integrity, that's their likeness. That's how they eat. That's how they feed their family. And Stephen, I'm going to give you an example. It's all love. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example. How do you think Kwame Brown feels when you say Kwame? How do you think Rasho Nesterovic feels when you say Rasho? How do you think Tiago Splitter feels when you say his name?
Do I get to answer this, or are these rhetorical questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Do I get to answer it, or are they just rhetorical questions?
Go ahead.
Let me tell you something right now. Kwame, all right, I'm going to tell you why I say Kwame Brown or Rasho Nesterovic, Slava Medvedenko. I'll tell you why. Because you're Kwame Brown. You're 7 feet tall. You're the #1 overall draft pick, okay? Jalen Rose came into this league. Reggie Miller came into this league, a plethora of other individuals that understood the privileged position that they were in. You come into this league, you came in without a jump shot. You came in without the ability to rebound. You came in without the ability to do nice footwork, to pass, to rebound, to defend, to score points, or whatever the case may be. And it's a decade later, and you're still that dude. You never